Yo, what is up guys? Welcome back to a brand new F1 Esports video on this channel. This is round 9 of the F1 2021 Esports World Championship around the Circuit of the Americas in the US, and we're heading out for our first Q1 lap of the session. Loads of people have already gone out on the mediums. We're going out for the first time, as I only did an out and in lap on the mediums. I didn't set a lap like many others did, as the mediums are quite far out the pace, so that's why I just want to do a soft run. The medium run is really not going to do anything. And yeah, as you can see here, the standings after the last round took a big hit in the past 2 races. Just not had the pace, and not gonna lie, if we don't do well in this race, then we are just gonna be massively on the back foot heading into the final 3 races. So this is gonna be now or never, because we've lost so many points in the past 2 races that if we don't score well now, that's gonna be the end of our chances for the World Championship. As you can see here, the constructors standing, we're leading by 12 points to Red Bull after a win from our teammate Danny Moreno Zandvoort, and a solid point scoring positions for us in Portugal. So constructors are going well, and we need to try and improve that, of course, or extend our gap again this race, which is not going to be easy, you know. Freddie Rasmussen and Marcel Kiefer are both amazing drivers, so they have won it 2 years in a row for a reason, and now we're going to try and extend that lead so we have a bit more margin going into the final 3 races of the season. But now back to focusing on this race. As you can see, just trying to bring some temperature in our tires, as looks like we're going to be the first one to set a lap. You can see there's a massive strain behind me, so we're going to be the first one to finish our Q1 lap. And it's such a long track, it's a little bit like Spa. There's so many corners to make up time, and if you're not on the limit, then you're going to lose so much time over the space of a lap. So you have to be on it all the way through. Into turn 1, a little bit of a lockup. You could hear it, but you couldn't see it. That's how small it was, so no damage done there. And now through the S's. This is quite a hard part in Q1 with that low grip, but we managed to stick it in pretty nicely there. Solid first sector, and definitely I think one of the best first sectors I'm going to set in this volley session, because that was just solid. We were so fast through there. And now into sector 2 then. Sometimes you struggle a little bit with tire temperature at the side of sector 2, because those S's are just so high speed, they ask so much from the tire. And we open our DRS for the second time this lap, and that final sector once again is going to be a struggle for the tires, with some very fast corners in there, so we need to try and keep these tires in check for the final sector, and we're doing that pretty nicely so far. Bit of a moment there, and literally every little bit of oversteer you get in this slow section is going to carry into this fast section, and you can see going through there, rear right is already 103, and you know at 104 they're going to start to overheat. So going through this fast left-hander, missed the apex a little bit, and that definitely cost me quite a bit of time. Into the final left-hander, bit of oversteer as the rears are overheating pretty hard, and the 30.601. I very much doubt that's going to be enough. As you can see, Barry going up to P1 with a 5.29. A lot of people are finishing their laps now, but you can see after that first run we're only P9, and that means we're definitely going to have to go out again and waste another set of tires basically, because otherwise we're not going into Q2. So we have to improve here, and we've gone for another new set of tires in this Q1 session, and it means we're only going to get 1 more new set for Q2 and 1 more new set for Q3, which is not ideal if you are in a position where you want to be fighting for pole position. You need 2 new sets of tires for Q3, because you can just build it up nice, you know. If you start on the U set in Q3, then your first lap is basically wasted, and it's not going to be a very good benchmark. Now, to the first sector, we're slightly up, 200s. We were already purple in sector 1 on our previous lap, so good improvement there, even though that first sector already was really fast. But the main time gain is in the second and especially the third sector. I think we were around 2/10 off in the last sector compared to P1, and heading towards the third sector, you can see we're 600s up, and the pressure is going to be on now because you can see we're dropping down the field. P12 it is. We need to improve on this lap, and we've lost a bit of time to that left-hander. Only 300s up into the final sector, where the most time is. Nikos Longe goes P1 with a 130.3. David Tenitsa improves to a 130.2. You can see on that exit we're 600s up, but we need to improve. If we invalidate the lap, it's out for us, and still so many people to set a lap. You can see we lost the back end into the left-hander, and going into the final corner, we're down on our time. Get a bit of a better exit. We're up by 1,500 across the line. We improved by 200s, but we're only P14, and with still quite some cars to go across the finish, we just make it through. Unfortunately, our teammate Danny Moreno out in Q1, and yeah, that was too much. That was too close. We need to improve in this Q2 session, otherwise we're gonna be out. And our banker lap was pretty good, you know, P4, so we're up there now, much better than Q1, as we were faster on used tires on that banker than we were on new tires in last session. So I have no idea what's going on. It's been a bit the story of the year where I'm really fast on the mediums in quali or on used tires, and then once I put the new ones on at the end of Q1, it just never really sticks with me. I don't know why, but anyway, back to the final lap of Q2. This one again is going to be super important to get right. First sector, once again, we're super fast in the first sector. It's just other parts of the lap we lose so much time. 110 up. And we were 110 up on Freddy Rasmussen, I think so, going into sector 2. But then we just lose time, or tend to lose time in other parts of the track. But now, on that exit, 1.5 tenths up, very solid lap so far. As Barry Borman goes P1 with a 130.24. As we are looking for a midpoint 3 at the moment, but still a sector to go. And this is where you can gain a lot of time on the new set of tires. Locked up a bit, so didn't gain time through there. But even though I had a lockup, I still gained time, so that's good. Now almost 2 tenths up, going into the last sector. And we need to do a better last sector than in Q1, because we absolutely messed that up last time around. And this is the fast section where you need to try and not overheat the tires. But it's basically near impossible. And now into the final 2 corners, that was much better than in a Q1 session. And coming into the final corner, I knew I was going to go through, so I took it a little bit safe. And up to P4 we go. And that sees us go through into Q3. You can see it's super close. Top 9 covered in 7.6 hundredths of a second. And yeah, it's so close. Like Q3 is going to be so important to get that final lap together. And if we don't, then we're going to be starting down the grid. But of course we're aiming for pole position here, because if we need or want to close that gap to Lucas Blakely, then we need to win races and not finish P5, P6 like we did in Portimao. So yeah, if we want to stay in this championship fight, we really need to get our shit together, to be honest, because otherwise it's going to be game over heading into final 3 races. And as you can see there, used set of tires are on the car, and we go P1. 30.43 on a used set of tires is pretty solid. So I'm happy with that. Freddy Rasmussen improves 30.289. I think Freddy had a new set of tires, if I remember correctly. But I might be wrong, of course. And now everyone is surely on a new set of tires. As you get an extra set for Q3, this is the lap where it matters. This is going to be the difference between starting P3 or P10. We're currently P3 of course, but everyone will improve on that last lap, unless you invalidate. But yeah, you can see into the S's, almost half a tenth up. And this is the lap we need to get everything right to get pole position into the second sector. You can see a 0.466 purple middle first sector, sorry. And on that exit I was a little bit wide, so lost a bit of time there. Around half a tenth probably, but still a tenth up to our delta as we go through the middle sector. Very important exit here. We gain around 300s on that hairpin alone. And then that final sector is where almost all the time is. It's so slow that you can gain so much time. And we need to get it right this time, because we haven't really got it right all qualifying long. But this is the time where it matters. Into the last sector, half a tenth up on Freddy Rasmussen. Front bites nicely into the asphalt. And same for this one, we just managed to carry so much speed this time around. And into the final few corners now, we need to try and manage the temperatures, which we haven't really been able to do so all qualifying long. Into the final 2 corners, bit to save on the turn-in, but we're 2.5 tenths up. Final corner, 3rd gear, we get some nice rotation there, and across the line we go. It's gonna be P2 for now, with some people still in the lap. Nicolas Longe improves and goes P1, provisional pole position. As you can see there, P3 it is for us. And yeah, by quite a margin. They're quite big gaps compared to Q2, for example, as I think some people might have struggled to get that final lap in. Lucas Blakely, crucially, our championship rival, P8. And this is the kind of race we have to win if Lucas is down so far. Because that's what he has done in the past 2 races when we were down the grid. And now it's time to definitely strike back if we want to stay in this championship battle. Now, on to the race then. You can see almost everyone on the mediums apart from Barry Burman in P2. And as far as we can see behind us, everyone on the medium as well. I think Brandon Lee might be the only one on the softs, but he's starting down in P10. So let's move on to the start now. Let's skip the formation lap. And tires are warmed up nicely as we do, or the AI does a final burnout before we stand still for a bit.
Just P10.
And wait until the grid is finishing
P17 and 18.
lining up. As you can hear my engineer Sam say, the people who are on the softs, P17, 18 and P10 are on the softs, and then of course Barry Borrament in P2 on the softs. He's gonna absolutely bowl it away probably at the start, as those softs are just so much faster around here than the mediums. But now let's head into the race. It's gonna be 5 red lights. And away we go for round 9 of the F1 2021 Esports World Championship. Good start for us, but good start for the guys ahead as well. As David sends it down the inside, I decide to leave space. And then we have more momentum around the outside on the exit. Trying to be close to Nicolas into this S section, but me and Nicolas need to work together in this first few laps to try and keep the damage minimal to Barry Bormant, because he is going to be gaining so much time in this first stint. Softs are just incredibly fast. I think around 1.5 seconds in the first lap. So there's absolutely no chance me or Nicolas are going to stay in the DRS of Barry. So we just need to drive our own race from here and work together. So now onto the long straight, using a bit of my ERS to defend from David Tunitsa. As I really want to be either behind Nicolas or ahead, but if we drop behind David, then basically it's just very difficult to overtake, because then the guy ahead of you has DRS as well. So that's why you always want to be P1 or P2. In this case, we're second in the DRS range, because Barry, as you can see, is already Barry's already out of the DRS. So yeah, the softs are just so much faster. You can see Brandon Lee, who started in P10 on the softs, already up to P5, and it just shows how fast those softs are at the start, you know. And Barry already 2 seconds ahead of us, just cruising away. And at the start of lap 3, you can see Brandon Lee right behind us, as Barry's just a fast lap of the race, 1.2 seconds faster than us. And I'm not gonna fight Brandon here, there's no point. He's gonna be faster for another 4 or 5 laps. So we're just gonna sit behind him, follow him around. I think Nicolas will do the same. So Brandon is gonna pull us along. Of course, the softs are much faster, but after 4 or 5 laps, it is possible to stay within the DRS. So that's why I decided to let him go. And you can see 1 lap later, Brandon is right by Nicolas, and Nicolas is thinking the same as me. No point in fighting Brandon on those fast softs. We're gonna try and follow him, because he's gonna pull us along and help us stay closer to Barry, with the help of the DRS, of course. And you can see midway through lap 7, Nicolas going for a move again, and that's just because the softs are now starting to drop off.
Copy.
But Brandon has carried us along so well. You can see Barry is around 5 seconds ahead, I think so, which is not much, as he should be further up front if you want to win the race. But it's just because Brandon has carried us along in his DRS, and the pace was so much higher than expected. So now end of lap 7, Lucas Blakely pitted 1 lap ago, and that's possibly going to trigger an undercut. So I wanted to keep the track position and box on this lap for a fresh set of softs, and it's going to be quite a long way into the race. We're going to have to do 13 laps on the softs, and a lot of people following me in, but it's mainly soft runners, so we're going to be one of the earliest to box for a new set of softs, as Lucas Blakely is coming through the final corner now.
Safe to, yep.
And as we turn off the pit limiter, we exactly have 100% ERS, and you can see me cross the pit exit line, which is completely allowed in F1 Esports. Lucas Blakely 1.9 seconds behind us now. If we would have stayed out one more lap,
good call.
Lucas would have been ahead, with potentially more people pitting on that lap as well, including Nicolas Longuet or Brandon Lee. And exactly 1 lap later, that's what I did. Nicolas Longuet, Barry Bormand and Brandon Lee all boxed, and
nice work.
As you can see, the undercut has worked beautiful, but we're gonna have to carry that 1 lap extra all race long now. And if I would have boxed 1 lap later, we would have been behind Lucas, as Lucas just came, or Brandon just came out just ahead of Lucas Blakely. So then we would have been behind Lucas, Brandon and Nicolas, and that would have just made the race so much more difficult. So I'm very happy I boxed that lap earlier. As we move on to the start of lap 11, we've caught up to Barry Bormand within 3-4 laps basically, with so long to go. The softs are going to degrade, but we're going to have so much more track position. Barry is going to drop off to potentially another 3 or 4 places. So by the time his tires are better than ours, then he's going to be too far back. So yeah, we're going to try and line up a move now to try and get past him. You can see Nicolas Longuet is back in our DRS. And he's possibly going to follow us around. Freddie Rasmussen in a net P4. He boxed quite a bit later than us, so he's going to have much fresher tires. I think he boxed at the end of lap 9, so 2 lap fresher softs for him. And that will definitely help until the end of the race. But as I said, we really needed that track position, and we're going to go down the inside of Barry Bormand. Nicolas Longuet is going to try to do the same. Because if he sticks behind Barry for this wall last sector, he's in danger of losing DRS to us. So he has to make that move, which he does. Up to a net P2 goes Nicolas Longuet. Barry is fighting pretty hard, but in the end,
Barry
Nicolas
ERS 60%.
Nicolas made the move stick. So yeah, now again, me and Nicolas are gonna have to work together a little bit. As if we fight this early on in the race, there's no point. We're just gonna lose time to Freddie Rasmussen on new softs or fresher softs. And you can see midway into lap 18, 2.5 laps to go. Freddie has caught the train, and Barry Bormand still in P4 on that medium. So Barry doing pretty well on that set of mediums. As now Freddie Rasmussen is attacking Nicolas Longuet, and that forced me to use my overtake button, which I just did. But yeah, Nicolas backing out of that move as well, because I reckon he wants to be P2 going into the final lap to get DRS down the long back straight. So yeah, we're a bit in trouble if we start the last lap in P1, because that means Nicolas Longuet is most likely going to get us. But luckily for us, Freddie is pushing and putting pressure on Nicolas to overtake me, because if he then doesn't, then Freddie might get Nicolas, and that's an extra position for Freddie then. So final 2 laps now, and tires are still doing good. I had to save quite a bit of tires in the middle of my stint to make it to the end, because that pitting at the end of lap 7 is very early. But I managed to save quite a bit of tires for these last 2 laps, which you really need, because you need to have the pace in the last 2 laps, not somewhere in the middle when you're just carrying someone in your DRS around. So it's going to be important that we're going to have a good final 2 laps. We can see back end stepping out a bit, and that just shows the tire where we're struggling with. As, now it's 4 tenths behind us, Nicolas Longuet going to the hairpin. I expect Freddie Rasmussen to once again go for an aggressive attack, and that's why I'm using my battery. You can see I'm draining it on the straight. That's why I was pushing. But to my surprise, when Nicolas pulled to the left, Freddy was quite far back. And I was confused why Nicolas has gone for the move now, because this is going to give us DRS on the next lap. So very confused why Nicolas has done this when Freddy was not even pushing him that hard down the straight. So we take it though, as I think I gave Nicolas a slight tap, but nothing major. He didn't really lose any time. And now we're going to go into the final lap soon with 2 corners to go. See, Nicolas is pushing, because if he's going to stay ahead, he needs to have quite a big gap to stay ahead on that final straight. And you can see we have basically 65% battery, which means he can just push fully battery-wise on that last lap. As the maximum you can use is around 50%, so all we have to do is just stay right with Nicolas through that first sector. And as I was just checking my tire temperature for a final time in this race, as this S section is asking so much from your tire. You can see Nicolas is struggling with that backhand, stepping out again through this right-hander, and this is forcing him to do something right here. His rears are cooking and going towards the DRS detection zone. He backs off to try and get DRS, but we are just behind as we enter the DRS detection zone. Now we're gonna get DRS down the back straight as well, and all we have to do now is defend from Frederik Rasmussen, who is in the slipstream. We have a full battery to use down this back straight. You can see Freddy is closing in. I decide to go a little bit defensive, not go my usual line, and cover over that inside a little bit. And now all we have to do is stay ahead for one more sector to put us back into the championship fight. Final few corners to go. All we have to do is keep it on track. You can see the backhand wants to step out, as the rears are absolutely gone after that 13 lap stint. And we've played it absolutely perfectly. We had to save the tires, but we had the track position. And all we have to do now is finish the race. You can see rear step wants to step out, as the rears are completely gone. But we're gonna win again for the first time in, I think, 6 races.
Nice work.
It's not been the greatest event after struggling in round 7 and round 8, but we're right back into the mix now with Lucas finishing P6. We are gonna be, I think, equal on points, or maybe 1 point ahead. So yeah, we really need that. Lucas getting 8 points, we're getting 25 points, which means a solid 17-point gain. So yeah, we really needed that. Our teammate Danny Moreno from P16 to P7 had an absolutely amazing race. And that means we're extending the constructor standings once again. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe if you guys want to see more. And see you guys next time. Ciao.